fire. Welcome to another gorgeous day on planet Earth. I get the sunshine today. I'm loving that because you guys are in the rain. I'm going to take this as a win. It was not a competition until this moment right now. And I made it that way. I was like, heck yeah, I just beat both of you. I'm going to own it. But it is another day of Dose of Did You Know, where intriguing, inspiring, unique, that's the both of you, individuals come to talk love and life and how it got them to where they are today. And with me is Matt and Buzz, back again because I love you both so much. I can't get enough. And they're speechless from that.
Right,
That's
absolutely.
I took it.
Got the damn camera here. I'm like, why am I like crooked? But it's
I don't know. And you didn't put your mood candles on in the back for us today.
I can do that.
I mean, what the heck? We just came down a notch, Matt. What is that?
No control. You know, I was going to go downstairs with my "I love me" wall like Matt's got going on, but I figured, you know what? Being that I was like sprinting in the door from the airport, I just didn't have the time to do the proper set. Next time we'll do the "I love me" wall and all that.
And we'll get our candles, and it'll be sexy and cool. But before we start, and everybody gets to know who you are, tell them a little bit about who you are. We'll start with Matt because Matt, you're in the middle. I like to go that way.
Yeah. So my name's Matt Bloom. I currently live in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I am a detective for one of our local police departments. Had the pleasure of serving in the Marines for 8 years, many of those with Buzz, including overseas in Iraq. Done just about every job in the world, from police officer to social worker to fast food, you name it, I've done it. So a lot of life experiences, a lot of fun with Buzz, and here to have a good conversation with you.
Yeah. And you still love Buzz after all this time. You guys wrote a book together even.
Yeah, that was on a Google Doc. It was pretty intense, but we hammered through and actually came out pretty good, I think. So
I think so. I can't even read that. What does that say? Love Bee?
It says "be kind." I just bought it because it has like a bee on it. I didn't even see the "be kind" thing, but
I'm like, we will be kind to you, Buzz, and we will let you tell the world who you are.
So I'm Buzz Bryan. I currently live in Jupiter, Florida, but I'm originally from Philly. I grew up there. 22 years active duty in the military. I don't know, a bunch of combat tours, all that good stuff. Loved it. Great time. Spent all my time with the Marines, which is, man, I mean, there's not many better jobs that you could do. Maybe not necessarily while you're doing it, but after the fact, when you realize and you sit back and think about it, think, wow, you know, that was pretty cool. So I'm currently the outreach director at the West Palm Beach VA Medical Center here in beautiful, normally sunny Palm Beach, Florida. Not so much today. It's kind of ugly out, but it's not cold. It is gray and wet, but it's not cold. And we don't get many days like that down here. So touche, Danny. What else am I going to tell you about me? I've been, we're talking about love and life and all that good stuff. So I do have lots of experiences with Matt, Marine Corps, but I've been married 30 years, which is really cool, to the same woman. 3 kids by the same woman.
Wow, this is like I definitely gonna get an award of some sort. An award.
She has kept me in check, and she is. Matt knows, Chrissy. She has.
Yeah, that award was not for you, by the way. That award had nothing to do with you. That was going directly to her.
She has kept me squared away, probably more than most sergeant majors, first sergeants, master chiefs I've come across in my lifetime. But so
you're blessed. You're blessed.
Yeah, she has really. If I would have known, and we would, I don't know when you get married. I don't know. I mean, you don't think about being married 30 years and it kind of happens, and it's like, oh my God, 30 years. Good Lord. I mean, it's a long time.
Do you ever look back? Okay, I want to talk about that because I have never been married 30 years, and I've had a lot of go rounds at it. But never maxing out 30. What is that like? Do you wake up at sometimes and you're kind of like, not in a negative way, but kind of like this, like, aha, like, wow, just the two of us have kind of accomplished something that most people don't. And how do you do that? I got to go here for a minute because that's pretty amazing to me. Matt, don't you think that's amazing? I think that's pretty amazing.
No, absolutely. Like knowing Buzz for this long, like Chrissy is like Mother Teresa, like bless her heart. You know what I mean? But no,
go ahead, finish your thought. Go ahead.
No, they're perfect together. Like, you know, a lot of people say, you know, opposites attract and all that kind of like, they are kind of like the same person, and like, but they each have their own personality, and it just works. Like, it's really cool to like interact and hang out with them. It's a good time.
Now, so Chrissy's from Philly as well, so you know she understands that whole Philly attitude, Philly whatever you want to call it. So, and also is the one that will, you know, just straight up, and Matt will tell you this, punch me right in my mouth if it needs to be done. And I'm not going to tell you it has been or it hasn't been done. I can tell you my best friend, who is still my best friend, married Chrissy's sister, Lisa. So there was a time a long time ago that I needed to be punched in the mouth. And Chrissy's sister punched me in the mouth. It might have been the best right hook I've ever taken in my life. And I mean that with love and reverence, because it was well deserved. But I was picking on her guy, and I'm like, wait a second, I've known him longer than you. Just because you're going to marry him doesn't mean, you know. But yeah, you know,
the secret sauce. You got to be able to punch him in the mouth when needed.
Yeah, I mean, we just kind of feed off each other, you know. I mean, you know, we started young. We had our oldest son young. I mean, we've been married 30 years. He, you know, he's well,
it's good. Okay, so we got the secret sauce, and I am not promoting punching your spouse in the mouth, but if need be, it has worked or not worked.
Figuratively, we can say that, right?
Yeah, you know, we're able to, like I said, I mean, we figured out how to compromise, you know, and, you know, with each other, how to figure it out. Like, I mean, it's, you know, she spent all my time with me when I was active duty in the military, you know, me picking up and going, you know, on all my little trips, I like to say, you know, someone had to take care of 3 sons while I was gone. And I'm sure that I don't know all the stories that my young sons had put her through when they were young boys.
Right.
So, I mean, you know, just you all the responsibilities that come, not only with being a young wife, but being a young mother, a young wife, married to someone in the military, having to take on the responsibility of the household, all that good stuff.
You know what I think I'm going to go here is that you got married probably for the right reasons. So many people get married for the wrong. Matt, are you married? I don't even know this. Are you married?
I'm twice removed from marriage and currently in a relationship. So like I've had some practice with this and figuring it out still, but like,
but when you look back, do you think like, gosh, I don't think I married for the right reasons? I can 100% say that.
Yeah, no, it was kind of like, both of them were rushed, you know, I was young and, you know, like, oh, this is the thing to do. You know, everyone's doing it. Like, oh, I'm of this age. This is what's supposed to happen. And you don't really go deep into the relationship enough to like, oh shit, what did I do? Or what didn't I do? But, or have a purpose in mind. You kind of just like, you know, man, I'm still finding my way. You know what I mean? So especially 15 years ago, I didn't have a clue. So,
yeah. I think we're from the same cloth, Matt. We're from the same.
I think you continuously learn. Yeah, you're continuously learning about each other. I mean, it's. I mean, it should never become stagnant. You know, there has to be some kind of, you know, excitement to it, and you have to figure out different ways. Like, you know, when you've been married for 30 years, you know, you just start thinking, all right, well, geez, I mean, what do we do now? What do we talk about? You know, when the kids left home. You know, when our youngest finally left home, and you know, a couple days, you know, within like 2 weeks, our dog had 15 years died. It was like, oh my God, you know, what do we? And then it was just like her and I in this big house in Western Pennsylvania, and it was like, you know, what are we going to talk about now? You know, I don't
Where'd
even
you
know
find it?
if he likes me anymore. What do we do? I mean, it's so you have to find new ways and new things to do and talk about and have date nights and, all
Well,
that.
it's a constant evolution, right? So I believe like we're supposed to constantly evolve. Like I never want to stop learning. I never want to stop growing, having new ideas, being challenged and, having wit and all of those things. And I can definitely say from past relationships, maybe one, I didn't have necessarily, I didn't think of that, like have that forethought. And then secondly, they definitely didn't. They were like, I want you to stay exactly the way you were when I knocked you up. And I'm like, shit, I'd be like the mentality of, a 16-year-old, if you think about it with Jacob. I think that's important to have somebody that actually realizes that you will evolve out of this one moment.
Yeah.
And when we live in our past of what we had or this vision. Okay. So that just brings me to this point. Maybe Matt has a better experience with this than you, Buzz. Is that, do you think that some women look at you as Marines and are like, you guys are freaking hot as hell, and I'm just going to scoop you up and live in this imaginary thing?
Oh, go ahead, Matt.
No,
I have my opinion.
I don't have experience with that. I wasn't active duty, so Buzz could probably answer the active duty on base question more. But I think there is a stigma per se of like, oh my gosh, you're a Marine, where's your uniform? All this kind of crazy stuff. But I think there's expectations when people know your background, whether it's a Marine or whatever your field is you work in. But yeah, I think it's you look at the title and you look at the uniform instead of the person, what you're getting into. But then you can play into that. You get sucked in and like, oh wow, they're really into me and blah blah blah. And it's like, oh wait, this was pretty shallow and everything. They were just in for it for the uniform or the title, or to go to the Marine Corps birthday ball.
Yeah. Oh, I told my son, I was just like, you know what? If you cannot bring her home to me, don't even waste your time. Not even waste your time, boy.
Yeah.
Like, and he's scared enough of me that he listened.
And that's good. That's a good thing. Because like I used to tell this story, I used to tell Marine, I'd be like, you could be Frankenstein and you put on the Marine dress blues and everything changes. I mean, it's, it's just like, oh my God, look at Corporal Bloom or, look at whatever.
Right. Sexy over there.
Yeah, wow, look at that. So, yeah. I like it.
And so there's that, like, that's the beginning thing. Like I've seen, and then there are times when people have been together forever and they still have that. They're like, I don't think it's just like with the Marines. I think it's in general, but I'm on this tangent about staying together for 30 years now. I don't know where that came from. That is not where I thought the conversation was going to go. But people get stuck like in what they're supposed to be or what they perceived their life to be. And then that's just it. And then they're back. It's almost like a slow death.
Yeah, no, I'd agree. I think you get stuck. Like me personally, to disclose, I was a people person. I tried to please the person I was with to kind of fit their expectation instead of being me. And then after a while, that gets redundant and boring. I'm like, man, I'm not really being who I want to be and do those things. And you get stuck in that place and like. Before you know it, a year or two has gone by. You're like, man, this sucks. And, you just wasted some time. So
you wasted your life. So see how blessed you are, Buzz? I just want you to see how lucky. I don't want to say lucky because I'm sure there's been sweat and some blood and maybe some loose teeth that are involved in this, but you really have something of value here.
These are all veneers and crowns, just saying that.
We don't know how they got there.
Not for Mrs. Bryan, but yeah, you I guess you just find ways to, make it work. Don't get stagnant. But you're right. Like I'm the same way. I have an outward personality. I know I come off shy on the screen and everything like that. But I mean, it's just my personality, and I can't help it. And my wife is not my wife is outgoing, but she's a little bit more, I don't know, maybe reserved is the right word. I'm going to say what I feel, what I want to say. I mean, I did it this past week, and you know, when we were up north and at a couple of events, and my wife just looks at me. And this is like, you know, once again, you're saying way too much that needs to be said, and I can't say it on, you know.
Well, I think you guys started with a good foundation, and my great friend Bryan's watching, and he's being a smart ass because he's like, as long as she submits like the Bible says, you know, she's okay. I'm like, Bryan, I know your wife too, not so much, but two people have been together a long time, also, but came from like they just like. I don't know if it's luck of the draw, and I just didn't get that stick, and God was like, you need to learn lots of lessons before you're given that, but like that good foundational piece, and that is what I'm sticking with. You had a good foundational piece. Period.
I'll live with that. Like I said, similar backgrounds. Her father was a cop. My father was a fireman. Both military backgrounds. My dad a little bit longer than her dad, but you know, so you know, kind of disciplined household. So we I mean, Catholic school our whole life.
Yeah.
You know? So yeah.
That is it. So now I have to ask, because I'm all about this like love thing in your relationships. Did that have any part of or piece of when you guys wrote this book? This is the book. Did any of that, or was it strictly coming from a different place?
I think as Buzz gulps, I think this was more about me and wanting to pass on my experiences, whether it was military related, love life related. Like, I think the basis of our book, you know, I'm not going to speak for Buzz and Nick, but to get out our information, you know, like I said, I'm twice removed from marriage. So compound that with working at the VA, being a veteran, and seeing all these other people's struggles, we really wanted to give back our information, what we went through, and how we've kind of got where we are today, because we didn't quit. You know, we just didn't be like, oh shit, this sucks. You know, well, I failed at this, so I'm just going to quit and do nothing. Like, we've learned a lot of lessons and become semi-successful people. And so we just wanted to pass that on and help people grow in their own lives.
I got to go back. Semi-successful. That was kind of a mediocre pat on the back. Like,
oh, we're still working. We're still working.
Well, always. Yeah. But I think you're pretty successful.
I appreciate that.
You know, and I think you learn from their lessons. I think you learn from failure, and we all know that. You know, I'm a big baseball guy, and the baseball adage is, you know, you can go, you know, you could fail, you could be 1 for 4 in a game, and that one is a grand slam or a home run. So I mean, is that a successful thing? Technically, it's you out of 4 shots, you got one. You know, you did one good thing. You know, I mean, I think the book, to me, you know, once again, I told you the last time we spoke, I wasn't really big with doing it, but then as I got into it a little bit more and learned a little bit more about me, and I guess my journey, you know, some of my successes or some of my failures, I guess it was, if there was a way for me to take that information or something that didn't maybe work for me or did work for me and put it in there, and someone saw it or someone read it or someone picked up on it, and it could help someone in a good way, you know, that's kind of how I looked at it as well. You know, I mean, you know, there's a lot of things that I'm proud of. There's things that I'm not so proud of. I mean, so it's, you know, whether it was military career, whether it's marriage, whether it's VA career, you know, whatever. So it's.
But it really does. Like, love might have not been on the forefront of your mind when you were writing this book, right? But everything is so interconnected. I mean, it just is. You can be going and you're like, I never thought that my career was going to affect my marriage or my love life, or my love life was ever going to, affect my financial state. But we lose sight that we are meant to be in balance with ourselves and our emotions. And when one's wonky, so those, everything goes kilter. So those skills that you applied in there, I'm going to put it out there that in some way will definitely relate to people's love life. Because think about it. If you're struggling and your wife leaves and takes the kids and all you have is alcohol, like, that's what you go to.
Yeah.
Where did that stem come from? A tentacle had to do with the love part of it.
Right. No, I think, I mean, you could almost say the central theme of the book is love of self. You know what I mean? Because if you don't love yourself, in my opinion, you can't love someone else. You can't love this. You can't love your job. Like, it all has to start with you. And I think that's, the virtues start, off with discipline and go on and on and on. But it's helping you enjoy you. It's helping you love you in order to build everything around your world. That's all in unison, like you said, and working together.
Yeah. And then you can open up that love to other people. I'm
It's the
so
core.
big into love.
I mean, it's the core. It's the strength. Strength in that core.
It is. And I know Travis is watching. He said, hey, and I'm so excited that Travis has love in his life. And now I can just harass him even more.
Yeah, I saw something like that on Facebook over the weekend. And I just kind of gave him my normal, like, hey, cool, party on. But I really didn't say, whoa, what's going on?
Facebook official is really big nowadays. So congrats.
I know. And you have no idea how excited I am.
That's awesome.
I'm like, we're going to talk today at 3:30. So Travis, we're going to book tickets to go to Nashville together. And I am definitely going to get some dirt on his love life because he used to give me crap because I would harass him constantly about love. Like, you have to love. He's like, I'm never going to love. Okay, that's not what he said, but it was close.
Travis is an awesome, awesome guy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like, whoever has scooped that up is one.
That's a lucky, whoever.
That's one lucky individual that I can't wait to see pictures.
Travis, I want a picture too, or you can DM me, IM me, whatever. I don't really know what it's all called, but one of them things.
I think we need a group chat with a picture, Travis. This is the request that's coming out there for the world to know. We will fill everybody in when that happens. But before I let Matt, you go back to work, and Buzz, you decompress from your plane ride and your travels from a kick-ass weekend party on. In this moment right now, Matt, what does love mean to you?
Oh, man.
You can Google it.
Right. Like, well, my phone's being used right now, so I'm really screwed right now.
It's got to come from here. The first thing.
Yeah. It's just, I think it's balancing unison. I mean, if I'm not, if something doesn't feel right, if something feels off, then to me, that's not love, whether it's your relationship, whether it's work, anything. If something feels off or doesn't feel right, then something's, obviously not agreeing with you. And that's something you have to be honest about. Yeah, I
like that.
I don't like the whole definition of like, oh, it's two people and blah, blah, blah. No, it's got to be something in here. And like, a lot of people say, trust your gut. And I think that has a lot to play into it. Like, if you're not trusting yourself, you probably don't love yourself, and you can't love other things like we talked about. So
yeah,
I think balancing unison is big with me in love. Mm-hmm.
I think I think it's your inside kind of speaking to you, right? Because evil and yuckiness doesn't come from a place of purity.
Not at all.
So totally. All right, Buzz, now that you got to think about it, because it's supposed to be one of those, you get, what does love mean to you? The first thing that popped into your head when you heard me say that, and not panic.
I don't know. I like Matt's answer, but I don't know. I guess it's like care and commitment. I mean, passion. How did we survive our marriage? How did my marriage survive? How did my career survive? I always tell people about, and I use this with everything about listening to people, not hearing people. Are you listening to people? Are you taking what people say and what they do and how they act, and hear their story? But to me, love is care, it's compassion towards everything. And you take that towards your wife, you take that towards your job, you take that towards my dog who just strolled up on me. That's what it is to me.
I love it. I think love is kind of like water, right? It flows, it changes over time. It's a fluid thing. It's not this one definition of something.
Love's not always about, I don't know, sexual arousal arousal and all that stuff. I mean, I think people get wrapped up. That's what love is just about. And there's more to that than just, the physical part of that. What about the mental side of it? You know what I mean? I mean, for many, many years, I don't know that I was a really good listener in a lot of things, not just my marriage, but even in work and with dealing with veterans. And I think as I've gotten a little bit older, and maybe I don't like to say older, seasoned, more seasoned.
See, a good piece of meat, seasoned piece of meat.
I got some gray in this is like 3 weeks of growth, by the way.
You've been tenderized.
He hasn't quite hit puberty yet.
I just, I think I've gotten better at hearing and listening to what people are actually saying to me, and it's made me better.
Yeah, don't you think? I think as we're younger, our egos are much bigger, and then our egos we know how to control them and the purpose of them, and that lets us listen, because a lot of times we hear and we're like, oh, I know how to solve this, I know what they need, I got this,
Yeah.
And then you realize you don't have to solve it, you don't have to get it, and you hear it differently.
Yeah.
And I was always like, Matt will tell me, I'm hyper by nature. I mean, I'm always going at warp speed, and I've gotten better at, once again, slowing myself down and actually listening to what, like I said, what my wife is saying to me, what that veteran is saying to me. When I was in a clinical background, hearing some things, I mean, I can, as to where maybe when I was younger, and not that I'm all that mature now, but a little less mature. I sit down and say, "Wow, you know what? I hear what you're saying. And that makes sense to me."
Yeah. I got it. And you know what I was thinking is that reading your book, like there's certain things you can read, you read through and you hear it one way, and then you go through another. And what made me just think of this, and then I'll really let you go, is that Travis says he picks up your book at night and will just like open it and read parts of it, right? Because you can apply it no matter where you are. I wonder, I'm going to have to do this. I wonder if now you open it up and you come from a sense of love, right? Instead of practical, actual taking out the resources and the tools, you look at it from a different way. I'm going to see if that resonates in a different way with me. That's my own little challenge I just like threw out to myself. Thank you for that.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. I'll let you know how it goes.
And I think some of our initial reviews and some of the comments that we heard, and Matt knows this. So, I mean, some of them, like, once again, I don't necessarily know that the demographic that we initially thought would be the people who got who learned from the book, or who got something from the book, or who picked up something from the book, was necessarily the demographic that we thought. I think there were some, older, married couples or older couples, or who picked up little things and tidbits there that did help them, with a marriage, with a struggle in a marriage, or a struggle in a job. So, maybe, and I will honestly tell you that I don't necessarily know that I looked at it from that standpoint. So
nor did I. Like the first comment I got on the book was from a girl that I went to high school with, and she just became an empty nester, and her marriage was suffering because of that, because they lost all their kids are out of the house. They had no direction, and she read the book. He's like, "Oh my God, this is exactly what I needed to hear." And we were thinking like 18 to 25-year-olds that are going into college, into the workforce, and needing direction. And like all these comments and reviews started popping up from people, our age, maybe even a little bit older. We're like, holy shit, So it's pretty wild.
Isn't that funny how that works?
Yeah.
Like, you never know. You just, which I can actually see that, because they're probably more receptive to it, right? And it hits them at a different impact, in a different, I can totally see that. But okay, I can talk to you guys forever, because I keep saying this is the last thing, and then I keep talking, and I'm going to zip my mouth and let you guys go and live your life. And Buzz, yes, the next time I'm there and the boat is ready, you will be on it. Hold on, Matt, I'd invite you, but you're far, far away. So that won't work out.
Right.
Hold on to your socks on that one. And to everybody else that is out there watching, as always, remember, love hard, love pure, and love proactive. Until next time, take care. We'll see ya. Bye.
See you guys.
Peace.
And